Kelly, can you see that?
I can, but I can see like all of your tabs and other additional things.
Okay, okay, I will.
But you're definitely up there.
Okay.
So I'm going to introduce you, and then I'll put the mic in here for you. Let's see where I can find. Maybe I'll just pull up a chair for this introduction, because we'll be in the same screen. Yeah, I'll sit right here with you. Let's see. Oh, we're close. Okay.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's great now.
Okay, super.
Okay, I'm going to call back. Oh, look, we fit
Hi,
perfect.
Annie.
Okay, I'm going to call
Nice
back
to
the.
see you.
I'm going to call back the breakout rooms now.
Hey, hi.
Oh, how are you? I didn't get to go in the breakout room. I guess I was too late, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
that's okay. I got a confused screen here. I got the Buddha.
Okay.
Let me get this
Okay.
on. Okay, breakout room's coming back in about 40 seconds. Morning, Shuping. Good to see you.
Do you want me to have that shared now or later?
Would you like to share the slide now or after the introduction?
Oh, after the introduction. Whatever works is good. Hi, Amy.
Welcome back, Bodhisattvas. Good morning, Julie. Good to see so many faces online here. Hi, Sandy. Good morning.
Morning.
Hi, Eric. I think we're about back here. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you enjoyed checking in. I'd love you all to please help me welcome our speaker this morning, our very own Diane Wilson. Diane is a coach, psychotherapist, applied neuroscientist, and author of the award-winning book titled Brain Dance. Diane is a longtime member of our Zen Life and Meditation Center and lives here in Oak Park with her wonderful husband, Gary. Today's talk is entitled Zen, Neuroscience, and the Art of Great Sleep. Thank you, Diane.
Great, thank you. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. This is great. Of all the interesting speakers we've had here, I'm totally humbled to be here this morning. I was looking back at the slides of the other presentation I gave here 141 weeks ago when my book came out, and I wanted to, was anybody who's on there, do you remember? Raise your hand. I wanted to tell you one thing, that you can be relieved that there'll be no dancing. There's no dancing in the audience. Because I have this picture of us like my book is called Brain Dance, and so we did these dances, and everybody looked like they were just humoring the title. So thank you for being here. This kind of comes from a talk that Chris DeSalle gave, and maybe the association is a bit of a stretch, but okay, so I wondered if you could do the first two lines of the Bodhisattva vow. Okay, do you want to lead that? Okay. So, numberless, I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transform them. Okay, perfect. So this is a theme that kind of goes through my work on sleep. And I was telling Chris about this talk that she gave. I said, whenever in my life from coming here, when something feels like a delusion, this starts going in my head, like delusions are number, like the chant starts. And so in my work with sleep, I find delusions, we have delusions, they're kind of brain warps. And I would like to take you into those and help you understand my understanding of those, and also help you learn more about the science of sleep and how the delusions set in and how we can overcome some of these. It has to do with a program I developed, and I'll tell you about that too. So thanks for being here. We can begin with the slides. My brain works in terms of slides. I'm so visual, and with my ADD, it kind of helps me keep things lined up. And besides, I just love making these. So this is our talk for today. Slide. June is nice enough to move these. I'd like to bring your focus here, and one way of doing that is just kind of rubbing your hands together, balancing your hemispheres. And so many things. It's such a beautiful day, and you've been meditating, but the people at home are probably a little less focused with the things around them. And so just bring your attention to the room here. And let yourself breathe and just be present. Okay, slide. Thank you. So these are some stories of people I see, and I wonder if you can relate to any of them. The far left and everything is disguised. I'm a HIPAA freak, and being a psychotherapist and a coach, any name has changed, probably most of the details, but I think you'll see the template. The person in the corner is someone who lays awake at night and says, what if this happens? What if that happens? What did my boss mean by that? I should have done this, I should have done that. And he keeps himself busy quite late, and then his sleep is very tense. The person below him is someone in the pandemic that got used to being online, connecting with others, playing games until 3 or 4 in the morning. I don't know if you know anybody like that. You can raise your hand if you do. But so now it's back to the less pandemic focus here, and he's back at work, and he's trying to get to sleep on time, but he's not. And it's just like he doesn't, the sanctuary of being awake late at night and friends and connecting is something that he misses, and he can't get out of the habit. So the person in the center who's flickering there is someone who keeps very long hours, and when they come home, it's hard to get to sleep and to focus, just to let go with the tension. And Matt in the center here recently retired and is very happy to retire, but actually doesn't really know what to do with himself. And it's like his sleep is restless. He wakes up a lot at night and goes, is this my life? How did I get here? What do I do from here? And so his sleep is broken. In the corner, then we have Bess and her daughter, and she feels bad sometimes that she doesn't sleep well. The kids keep her awake, and sometimes she is crabby at them and just feels terrible for days. Can anybody relate to any of these stories so far? Just kind of raise your hands. Okay, and then this is our midlife menopausal woman. Many women have struggle sleeping. And just the angst. It's like she wakes up in the morning, if she's able to sleep, and waits for nighttime so she can go to sleep. It's like every minute of the day, she's just waiting to go to sleep, only to have it all happen again. So that's a pretty common pattern. All right, so can anyone relate to any of these so far? Okay, next slide, please. All right, so this is from our the Zen website. So we're looking to cultivate the awakened world, to transform suffering and not being able to sleep as suffering into compassion, and delusion into wisdom. So that's our mission of today. Next slide, please. This is me. I my journey is, and I feel like you all know this, but I'm a peak performance coach. I help people that feel like they're not quite where they want to be, usually high performers that just feel like that they're not using their life the way they want to, and they're stuck, and it creates issues. And so that might include executives, athletes, performers, parents, but I use, so anyway, after I wrote my first book, I was in an accident, my world turned upside down, and then I came out the other side with a new profession. Slide, please. And one more. Okay, and so I had a lot of brain repair and learned a new field and became board certified in neurofeedback. And that's my brain on the left side there. The one on the bottom left needs work, but and that's the post-test. So, and this on the right side is biofeedback, which is my profession, part of what I do now. I also do the brain training. Okay, next slide, please. We got to move forward. Okay, so, and I was pretty lucky. It's like life became my teacher. That's my book, and that's the award benefit for some of the awards that it won. Next slide, please. And this is what I've been doing since the pandemic. It turned my life upside down, and you know, I would see people, my work is putting sensors on people's head and looking at their brain as it goes across the screen, the lines, and all of a sudden I couldn't go into my office or touch people or, you know, do any of that. Wow, sorry, it's kind of an emotional thing, but I decided, I followed a lot of medical people online, and decided and saw a lot of people who committed suicide and from the pressure of that. And so that was the impetus. It's like, I gotta help people. It's a primary motive in my life to be of service. So I made this program to help people sleep because I felt if people could sleep, they would be better. You know, it's like life is better when you sleep. And so people that have really, really stressful jobs need to know how to sleep. So I spent a year making this, which was kind of a labor of love, like a lot of research, trying to figure out a way to work with people online in a group, because I just feel like there are so many people that don't sleep and that there's so much to learn. There's so much science that can really make a difference. So this is my program. This is what it looks like. And so I'm like a little obsessive. Okay, I did beta test on it last summer, and then prepared to do the first cohort, did the first cohort, and now I'm moving into the second, and it's kind of building. So this is just like a whole learning curve in and of itself, another presentation, but making videos, you know, just the design of it is full of interesting things and delusions, so I'll tell you more about that. So next slide, please. So, but the issue is that 1 in 3 people do struggle with sleep. They walk around and like the people that we saw on the front side. There are over 70 different types of sleep disorders. And the one I would focus on is like most people have these symptoms. They can't go to sleep, stay asleep, or they wake up too early. So that's technically called insomnia. But that's kind of overlays a lot of the other sleep disorders too. Next slide, please. So the people around you, we all probably to some degree could sleep better. And that's the peak performance tool. Like even if you do sleep well, you could probably sleep better. And if you did, your life would probably be better for a number of reasons, and I'll tell you why. So what the sleep deficiency costs us is a lot. We're gonna skip through this part really fast here. Just next slide, please. Memory. that when we collect information in the brain, it's kind of in a lot of different places, like sensation, space, spatial configurations, just different parts of the brain. And when we sleep, it pulls it together, it consolidates the memory. So people that don't sleep, they can suffer from memory loss, so just a faulty memory. So if you want to, people come to me, it's like, I need to improve my memory. It's like, how's your sleep? I don't sleep. It's like, okay, perfect. We know right where to start. Next slide, please. And we feel sleepy at our desk. Just that sense of energy. Productivity is down for most of us that don't sleep well. It's just really hard to be productive. We often feel like we're chasing our tail, and just that sense of getting things done. And actually, sleep deficiency is related to anxiety. And so it becomes a circle. It's like I'm anxious because I can't sleep, and because I can't sleep, I'm anxious about not being able to sleep. It's just, and the function of anxiety for many of us is that it makes us feel alone. And so then you have this kind of feeling, but it's almost, well, it is physical, that we feel a sense of disconnect from others when we're anxious. Excuse me. And this is funny. It's a study I found that when we don't get enough sleep, we actually don't look as attractive to others. And this is from a study. I love this study. They took pictures of people that were rested and not rested, and they asked a number of people, who would you ask for a question, and who do you think is attractive? And the people that got the most questions were the people that were rested. And they thought they were the most attractive. And I think it does make sense, because I think when I think we pick up things like that pretty fast. Like when the boss comes in the office and he hasn't slept or something, it's like you get it immediately, right? I mean, it's just kind of in the air. And so it kind of repels people from us when we're not rested. It's probably some, automatic sensory thing we have going, just in the same way that if you were to see a bear, 50 feet from you, he or she would probably be able to spot, are your pupils dilated or not dilated? We just have ways of picking up sensation. So I kind of like this one. If you want to look good on a date, rest. Another thing that is correlated with lack of sleep is weight gain, because the cortisol from stress that's keeping us awake can add to body weight. And as a post-pandemic pounder, I understand that very well. So it affects our immunity in terms of getting illnesses or diseases. And pain, the perception of pain is amplified by not getting enough sleep. So I don't know if you've ever had surgery and then you feel a lot of pain, and then you have a good night's rest, and your perception of pain is just different when you wake up. This is a new study I read on midlife women and heart attacks or cardiovascular events, and women who don't have sufficient sleep are more likely to have one of those cardiac events, and they're more likely their mortality rate is higher, they're more likely to die. So this is really serious opportunity for us to get a hold of that. All righty, and one more. Let's see. Let's give a wild applause for June for doing this. Thank you so much. June's like, I have a husband with a broken shoulder, and I'm, thank you for doing this. Let's see. All righty, we're getting close here. And as a supervisor, so I give this talk to companies because because if your employees have low productivity, higher sick rates, and they don't get along with each other as well, it really pays to have people sleeping. It's just like an easy return of investment, right? I mean, honestly, this is People have me in for like a staff day or workshops, and I love it. So benefits of good sleep, we'll just kind of go through these quickly. What are some benefits that you get? Want to move that ahead, please? Creativity. That our creativity is just better, you know, that thing where ideas just come to you and you just feel like clicking away here. And anyone can jump in on this. What's the, teamwork. Yeah, we feel more connected, that we just, you know, we're more likely to let those little grudgy things go and just kind of like the people around us and get things done. And confidence is higher. That's a research finding. Energy is higher. And these are the attractive ones. They had a good night's sleep. Well, I thought they did. And just our intimate relationships benefit from good sleep. Focus, it's easier to focus and stay focused. Productivity is higher. All right, so that's it. In working on this, I think it's very important. Sleep has like a kind of a pejorative feeling to it, like it can, but I like to look at it as like, what kind of life do you want? What do you want in your life? What do you want this to look like? Because I think in doing peak performance work, having our lives be what we want, it's like really look at like, what do I want to create with this life I have? What do I want my life to be like today and in the future? So I think that's so much better than thinking about immunity, although it does factor in, but really, and if you can just take a second and think about the things that we covered, and which of those things would you want more of or less of? Let's take 30 seconds. It's like, what would you like for your life? And if you care to, just maybe say one word. What stands out? What would you like more of? One word? Anyone? Calm. Heart health. Creativity. Time. Focus.
Dancing.
Dancing. Back to dancing. Anyone else? Joy. Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, and just as you work, if you choose to work on sleep, be pulled forward on that. Be pulled to create the life that you're looking for. And in my course, the first time I ran it, this person started sleeping. And I'm a writer, I know a lot of writers. She's a writer, and she had this book idea, and in 4 weeks she wrote it. It was like she just needed space for her mind not to be focused on the negative, and space to create ideas. So let's go back to our slideshow here. What are we doing? Oh, Junior, a gem. Thank you for doing this. All right. Okay, so here's where the delusions start appearing. There's a little known secret. I hope you don't know this. I want to be the first one to tell you. It's a barrier to change. And one more. The eye can't see the eye. And the thing is, with the lack of sleep, sleep deficiency, all those potential deficits are that we can't see them. It's like when we drink and want to drive home from the party and people are going, no way, you can't drive, that sort of sense where the person is not seeing it. With impaired sleep deficits, usually we can't see it, but other people can. It's like the boss that came in. Maybe he feels he's okay, but we're going, I'm not asking him any questions today. So I think that's kind of chilling, don't you? That like people could spot that if, if we aren't rested, even if they can't articulate it, that we respond to it. But we don't always see that. And I find that in working with people, it's they'll go, oh, I don't sleep well. And then they're kind of on to the next topic, like it's not, a huge factor in it. It's astonishing. So it's like, here we go. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transform them. Next slide, please. And there are other myths around sleep. You can move that ahead. One is that that we don't really need sleep. That's just not true. And people used to say that, oh, I don't need to sleep. Well, actually, they didn't know what we did when we slept not all that long ago, or nothing makes a difference. People tell me this all the time. I mean, smart people, nothing makes a difference, only medication works. It's like, no, I don't think so. Brain science is just like a power tool. I don't sleep during the week, but I can usually make up for it on the weekends. Maybe, there's an idea of sleep deficit and sleep debt that you can make up, but you can't make up those moments on a Thursday when you feel like you're gonna yell at someone, your child, or in a meeting, and you can't rework those moments. So maybe not, and that glass of wine, this is a very popular one, by the way, that any of us could think. A glass of wine helps calm me and get some good sleep. It sounds good, but it works like this, that it makes us drowsy, it calms us in a certain way, but the nervous system actually then backlashes later, and you're awake at 3, generally. And so I've had a lot of people that it's like they have that glass of wine, but it's a physiological effect that's how the nervous system works. Okay, good on myths. So what helps us learn new habits? This moves us right into, so sleep is a lot of habits. And there are learning states that we develop that make those habit learning easier. Now this is where the Zen part comes in too. And so this is not quite, this is an alpha state. Actually, if it were an alpha state, they would be smoother. But we learn better, and this is from studies of kids and teaching, and that in an alpha state, we're likely to learn habits more easily. And that's different than someone going, oh, you should do this, and shaming you and all that. But if we move into an alpha state of appreciation and relaxation, and that's better. So that's kind of, we learn how to regulate our nervous system from Zen training, and being able to put ourselves into this state of relaxation makes habit learning easier. The problem with learning sleep habits is that people try to learn them or relearn them when they're tired, and or try to recall them when they're tired, and that's very hard, very hard. It's very challenging. So moving into that more receptive state is important. And other things, honoring the challenge. I mean, you could go your whole life without knowing any of this or working on it. If you're working on it, that's great. And really honor that, the challenge that you're taking on. And giving yourself credit. This is all part of putting yourself in kind of an alpha state. This alpha, in my field, like training, a lot of my colleagues like train golfers and all, and I may have told you this, but they train them to go into an alpha state so they can learn the new habit. But that information doesn't travel like the alpha state in training, but in education, it's more known. But because golfers don't tell each other their secrets. So it's an interesting thing. It seems like everybody should know this, but it's like, nah, not that. So giving yourself credit is important, and just really going with the idea of habit building. There's so much to learn about habit building, but the biggest myth around it is that it takes 7 days to build a habit, or 21. different things take different amounts of time. And if you think it only takes 7 days or 21, you can be very disappointed and feel like, go back to the idea, nothing makes a difference, which is a distortion. So when we move into habit building, we have to be curious and cultivate receptivity. Oh, I wonder how long it'll take to do this. You can change your habits. It's just that, and we like things that are predictable, but stay open to time lengths. Okay, okay, here's the delusion I had. Let me see. Okay. A big delusion I've noticed around sleeping and in talking with people about my program, it's interesting because people will go, I know how to sleep. And it's like, oh, okay, but you just said you don't sleep. And it's, it's like, oh no, I know how to do it. And it's like, I realized, and I'm totally do all these things myself, but it's like knowing and doing is very different when it comes to sleep. And there is this illusion, especially with sleep, and they know like 1 or 2 ideas, and then it's like, oh, and then there's sort of a calm that comes with that. It doesn't help them sleep, but it's like it pacifies us to know. It's like, oh yeah, I know how to do that, or I know what to do. So I really appreciate and take advantage of the thought and try to articulate this terrain for people, because the way that they've conceptualized it is different. It's like we know things, and then we have to create the conditions to do them. And I know myself with this, and then you be them. And another reason I decided that I love to talk about sleep is that I used to be an insomniac. Really, like I know what it's like to stay awake a whole night, just awake there in your room. And so I know this, but I don't have insomnia anymore. And it's because I had all this brain training. So, but when I think about all the things that I do, they're so natural. If someone said, oh, do you struggle with sleep? It's like, nope. But I don't eat sugar at night. I don't, I know how to calm down myself. I know how to breathe. All these things that I love teaching people. So, but then once you know them, that's what you do. And then you do the next thing that you want to learn. So I sleep. That's one of the things I do. So I look at my Fitbit and it's like deep sleep, 99%, REM sleep, 18%. It's like I know how to sleep because of all the things I taught myself or learned from wise teachers, very wise. But so this is interesting to me. So I think with proper coaching and information and support, we don't have to spend our lives like worried about sleep, worried about getting through the day, and if it's going to happen tonight. My people that can't sleep, they go, I start worrying about 5 o'clock, like, is it going to happen tonight? Or, I just, in the anxiety, and sometimes even their bedroom makes them anxious, and sleeping, looking at their bed. And one of the people in the first cohort, her takeaway is like, I love being in my bed. It's like, I just thought that was so beautiful, because before, being in her bed made her feel so anxious because she knew she wouldn't sleep. And so anyway, so knowing can lead to doing, and then it's being, and then we can just do it and have more space in our head to do other things. Okay, so this I've already gone through on alpha waves, and these are tips for great sleep. Another delusion ahead. Okay, so in terms of the model that we have on creating great sleep, most of us have 2 or 3 things that we know to do, and that's the model. So this is where, education really makes a difference, that there are a few major categories and then a lot of things that impact on sleep. So that's the relief. It's not like nothing makes a difference. Oh, there are a lot of things that will make a difference. And they fall in these 3 categories generally, and there are many, many ideas to try. So the first factor is the sleep drive that we have. It's something that builds across the day. It increases, and it's kind of a neurochemistry of, body chemistry of melatonin increases through the day. Unless we have stress, and then we have cortisol, which cancels, erases the melatonin. So that's why we want to keep the stress down so melatonin can build, and just adenosine, some other neurotransmitters, so that when we get, if all goes well, come nighttime, our bedtime, we just nod off. So if sleep drive works, we nod off. So the things that get in the way, we'll talk about those. So that's one set of things. And then the second set of things has to do with the circadian rhythm, like our rhythm day in and day out. When we travel, you see the circadian rhythm, how we're on this kind of mental, physical schedule of when we're hungry, when we're sleepy, and sometimes people like my young man with his head on his desk, like his circadian rhythm is about 4 hours off most people's, 4, maybe 6. And he's like sleepy at 3 a.m. So his circadian rhythm has to be adjusted and across time. So you do that a little at a time. But anyway, the biggest one where our Zen training comes in is the activation of the nervous system, where, you know, how keyed up we are, or how alert, or how relaxed we are. So sleep drive builds for us, and then we nod off. So in terms of the sleep drive, people ask me about naps. Does anybody in here take naps? Yay. And would you care to say why you nap? Anyone? Does it work for you? Yes.
Yeah, it does. A shorter one usually better than a longer one.
Yes, exactly. The research shows that 17 minutes is a good amount of time for a nap. I know people tell me, yeah. Somewhere about, I think probably varies for different people, but one number I saw was 17, and like 30 minutes, but if, and people tell me they nap an hour and a half. I don't recommend that because I don't like naps at all, but some people do. But I think they can be really helpful if they're short. If they're longer, then you move into the different cycles of sleep, and each cycle has its own purpose. And if you're waking up in the middle of one of those cycles, you could just feel awful the rest of the day, tired, draggy. So yeah, they say shorter is better. And sun in the eyes in the morning. This is from Dr. Andrew Huberman from Stanford, who has a big presence on the internet. Some people question some of his research, but this is like his hallmark of sun in the morning. So what do you think that does? Sun in the morning in the eyes. Well, it sets your circadian rhythm. It's like, hello, it's morning. And that kind of physiologically we sleep better at night from seeing the sun in the morning. And he's pretty particular about it. It's like sunlight, not through your window, not a picture of it on your phone, but actually getting out and just moving and having your eyes in the sunlight resets your circadian rhythm. And that's true. I think when you travel, it's like the best thing you can do to get your circadian rhythm going is just get outside and start walking and be in the sunlight. That works, by the way. If you do it by night, you're just like, oh, I'm exhausted. And you have the best sleep. So that we've already talked about here. And that's their circadian rhythm, where everything is, believe it or not, and you know, there are chronotypes like arc, lark, owl. Those are actually real types. We could talk about those for a long time, but it's helpful to know how your circadian rhythm works. Like, I'm a night person. I function well at night, not in the morning. People that have a 7:30 meeting with me would not consider that a compensatable activity. Be like, what? I'm doing this? Are you serious? No, I don't you all find have your moments where you just feel like more with it and you bring more to conversations? So these are important things to know. And so the best thing you can do is, if you're changing your sleep, is to be very consistent, to really staple in that drive, activity, and the circadian rhythm, to get it very clear so that it's kind of working for you, so you don't have to think about, am I tired? I should be tired. It's like, it's just working. You set it, it's working. You respect it, it's working. All right, so then these are, how is this? Is this landing in, are you learning things? Is it helpful? Okay, how's our time? Oh my goodness. All right, 5 minutes? Okay, all right, so this is habit building, and this is what my program is about. It's all of this, and there are different things that keep people awake. It's like cognition, the things we tell ourselves. A lot of sleep therapy has to do with the cognitive behavioral therapy, what you tell yourself. I don't know. I mean, my training is more physiological, although I have been trained in this too. But I think just knowing what we're telling ourselves is helpful, and arguing back. But honestly, that seems a little busy for me. Don't you think? It's like, oh, I'm writing down these bad things I'm telling myself. I'm talking back to it, or it's helpful. It's definitely helpful to know. So there's cognition, nutrition, whole field. There are things that we can eat before we sleep that will just help us. But really, you shouldn't eat 3 hours before you sleep, because your body needs to digest the food. So, but there are things like tiramisu is avoid at all costs. Sugar, caffeine, everything. It's, if you go to a party, alcohol, bad. Tiramisu or desserts, even cruditas, that, raw stuff, these are not really helpful things to your digestion. So you're destined to lay awake. So in the environment, I love this. I had my house feng shuied when we moved in, but there's really a lot to be said about the environments that we keep and what they do for our brain when we're sleeping. We just need cool space, clean space, nice pajamas. All those things really can make a difference. And so the body, the activation of the nervous system like we do, the meditation, being able to shut that down, and then tapping, a lot of things can be in our body that we store in our body because we can't deal with them any other way. And then we're awake. It's like, wow, my body's awake. I'm upset. I don't even know why. And so I have some things in there about tapping and, really getting to that body level. I had a massage a couple days ago, and it's like, oh, you forget what you carry in your body. It's like, oh my gosh, this is really a powerful thing to be respected. So here's some tips. Regulating our nervous system. All the things that we do here are just so important in terms of being able to control our nervous system, being able to wind down, recognize the delusional things that we can tell ourselves, the mind busy brain type things. And this is the nervous system, just all the ways that, this is the autonomic nervous system. It has two branches. The parasympathetic is the rest and digest. That's where we want to be for sleep. We want to be able to be in that side of that part of our nervous system to dominate. But a lot of us have a sympathetic nervous system. We look at the bed and we feel anxious, and then try to lay down and we feel like we failed. And so all that talk and body arousal just keeps us awake. And so this is for not necessarily Zen practitioners, but at a very basic level, is to breathe low and slow, breathing into the abdomen, because then that activates the vagus nerve, the parasympathetic nervous system, the part that calms us down. And when you breathe in, I just love this, this phrasing. It's like, smell the flowers. Let's try that, like breathing in through the nose. I love that image of, that appreciation that goes with that, and exhale. There's it's a picture of how and why that works. I feel like I'm kind of preaching to the choir here on this, but from my field, Next slide, please. There's all this where you breathe in through your nose and not your mouth. This is from Andrew Huberman too, where there's a lot of discussion and breathing in through your nose and exhaling through your nose, like in through your nose, brain or the nose filters the air and hydrates it before it gets into the body. And so you have people that really look at, want to keep this going, the body. Actually, chest breathing can make us anxious. So if you see someone who's really anxious and you want them, what they're doing, if they're, watch their chest, if their chest is moving, it's like they're making themselves feel more anxious through that chest breathing. So low and slow is a better solution. And breathing in is probably not what they need to do. It's more like just have them pause, because usually we don't need more oxygen. We have enough oxygen. What we're looking to increase is the CO2 that carries the oxygen into our body. So if people can just pause and even exhale, that will help them calm down. When you're breathing, the exhale is the part that calms you, activates that part of your nervous system. So hands on chest and tummy, try to figure out, am I breathing through my chest or my tummy? You probably know this as the meditation teacher. Yes, and so if you're laying in bed, then put your hand on your chest and your tummy and figure out, just even bringing yourself into your body that way will be helpful. Usually it's your chest if you're laying awake and you're anxious. So then try to breathe into your hand, into your stomach, laying down. That's the best way to do this. I finally got this intuitively when I took singing lessons, because I was breathing through my chest for a long time and I didn't know it. And to be a singer, you have to breathe through your stomach. So my teacher had me lay down on the office floor. I think she does this a lot, but anyway, and put my hand on my stomach and just try to feel my hand move. So if you want to test yourself on this, it's like lay down or even right now, put your hand on your tummy and see if that moves. It's not actually your stomach that's moving, it's your abdomen, but so you can see if you're breathing low and slow. This is my go to sleep quick solution, hand on chest, hand on stomach. Okay. And this has to, I put this slide in here because it has to do with resonance frequency. And in biofeedback, there's something called resonance frequency, heart rate variability, and it's a major index of health. And your heart rate variability has to do with, does your system respond to the things around you, or does it, are you stuck in being anxious or being given up, kind of slow? And so this, anyway, so you practice different breathing strategies, pranayama, or, where you're breathing in for, say, 4 and out for 7 or 8, some strategy of numbers. But the idea is that at each of these patterns, we'll have a reaction to it. And so your resonance frequency is the frequency that when you breathe, you're in your zone. So I think I took a class, one of the classes I took on this, and we tried these different, breathe in for 5, out for 7, breathe in for 6, out for, and we had to try these. Have you ever done this? Anybody ever done this? Yeah, and some of them you just feel like, oh my gosh, I hate this. And then others like, oh, life is perfect. So that's what you want to do is find your resonance frequency, and that helps the variability of your heart rate. That helps your major breathing is to go into your resonance frequency. Like the earth has its resonance, we have our resonance, and it's very different. I couldn't believe how bad I felt at some of the patterns. It's like, I just can't stand this. So anyway, just introducing or highlighting ideas. How are we doing? Okay. I'm so into this. creating a comfortable place. Usually people tell me, like, this started with my background in career and executive development, and this people who don't sleep, so then you go, well, what's your room like? And it's like, oh, I have a closet in front of me. It's usually open. My clothes are in it. Oh, how come they're busting out? Well, I don't wear them anymore. That was when I was skinny. It's like, okay, so you imagine someone looking ahead and there are all these clothes that they should be able to wear or whatever they're thinking. And so, and next to me, well, what's next to you? Oh, there's a TV. Usually the cat hops on it during the night. And it's like, so you're worried about your cat hopping on your TV during the night. But, we all set up these little obstacle courses in our houses pretty unconsciously. And it's like, no TV, no TV on when you're trying to sleep. No, no, no. You don't want all that in your head when you're sleeping, and the cat not jumping on the TV. So that just got me thinking about this whole feng shui and reading, and just the, here it's so peaceful, it's so calm. We hardly focus on that, but it's focusing on us, or we bring that. It creates space in our brain, and we need space in our brain to sleep, and things that don't demand our attention or make us feel less than. So anyway, this person changed all these things and he slept better. It just made me so happy. Okay, so comfort, and then clothing too. It's like dress for the part. People go, oh, I just wear this to sleep. It's ratty, but who sees me when I sleep? It's like, but why not? It's part of your life. It's like, have a beautiful life. Wear things that make you happy and feel good. So this is from Ariana Huffington, a publisher who wrote a book about like dress the part. Enjoy your life. Buy things that make you feel good. They don't have to be expensive. Just love your life. Relax at night. And I'm a big advocate of essential oils, especially lavender for sleep. There's a research on it that it actually activates different neurotransmitters that help our brain relax and calm down. And I think creating rituals at night is good, kind of sequencing things together, because usually at night we are pretty compromised because we're tired. And so if we can kind of see the sequence and it fits together, then we start one thing and we don't have to think about all the rest. We just do them. This is seems kind of intuitive or counterintuitive, so just try this with care. But splashing water on your face, cold water, is it helps. There's a diver response. Free divers, when they go in the water without equipment, that their nerves, how do they do that? They go down for long periods of time, and it's because their nervous system, when it hits the water, it starts to calm down and they need less air. So they can stay in the water for longer than we can imagine, but it's because their nervous system has just kind of shifted gears. So it's kind of like if you can imagine crying or being upset and putting cold water on your face. That has kind of a similar reaction, like when we take a shower, water on our face. It's just like a simple shower. You feel like, oh, life is good. And so, I mean, you don't want to wake yourself up with cold water, but I do think that if you just feel like, I don't know how to calm myself down, then try splashing water on your face and, just, see if you can shift your nervous system that way. I like to do this. It just feels good. And besides, I saw a little Jennifer Aniston thing on like beauty and cold water or something. So it's, probably related. So, okay, next slide, please. And I believe counting sheep does this, that if you're in your limbic brain, your emotional centers, and it's like super upset about something, and then you go into your left analytical side, not everyone agrees with this, by the way, that you're kind of like, oh, okay, 1, 2, and you've taken your mind off another part of your brain, and you can go to sleep. For some people that will work. Have you tried that? Anyone tried that? Yeah. Are you vouching for that?
Yes, I do mine. I start at 100 and I alternate between the number and the word sleep. In my mind, you draw it sleep. 99, sleep. It really works for me.
Wow, that's great. You know, the other thing you could do is kind of like, I inhale to the count of 5, I exhale to the count of 6, or just, but yeah, it's all kind of moving. Very good, thanks for sharing that. Okay, and then gratitude actually does change the brain and gives us these feel-good serotonin, dopamine kind of, happiness things. And that's a good thing to count too, actually, before we go to sleep, because I think that kind of cognitions that we have at night are like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that, that I call them sleep saboteurs, the slaying the saboteurs. Gratitude would be one of them. Just really, no, I'm grateful for this, and really work that side of it. So these are my wishes, that you have had an extremely valuable experience, that you can change your life in little and big ways. With better sleep, you're free to grow and have the life you want most. Things that were difficult and stressful will have ease and flow, that we can acknowledge what's difficult, touch and go. So I would say create your intentions and just move along with next steps, small steps. And I really like this idea of vision, the things that pull you forward, how you want your life to be. And, this is from my person who went through my cohort. He used to lay awake, this is so exciting. He used to lay awake for 90 minutes ruminating, struggling to quiet his mind, and now he drifts off. He used to drift off and then wake up real early. Then we kind of worked him through that, and then he had more time in the program. The program's 90 days or 3 months. And so I go, well, let's work on other things. And so he had gained 15 pounds since the pandemic started, and he lost 9. And he's very happy about it. He's a little concerned it came off too fast, but if you do all this, it's your life just gets better, I think. It's like we lay awake worrying about things, and if we can address those, and that's what I do in the program, it's like, let's just address it. How will we do that? So anyway, thank you very much for listening and for being here and sharing your lives too. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah, I think we're right about at time, but we could take a few minutes if there's questions or comments before we move to kinship hour. Those online, feel free just to unmute yourselves, or I can pass the mic here in the room.
How when you wake up in the middle, like go to the bathroom, and then you go to bed and you start thinking and go back to sleep. I mean, I have no trouble falling asleep, but once in a while, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that for those online? Just kind of summarize. Thank you.
Should I use the microphone or? Oh. Very good. You're not alone in that. So many people tell me, I don't know if it's 3 o'clock, but not that I know of, that when you wake up, have a bio break, and then come back, your mind starts working. Yeah, it's pretty common. Oh. So that's where you like work out of the mind into the body, really kind of sync with your body, maybe hand on your stomach and count your breaths, or it's like you want to, other things you can do is like, how do my feet feel? Things that, what do I smell? Bring yourself just in your body and out of your mind. It's like, that's a good question.
And does reading help them? Is that just go to couch and start reading?
Reading does help a lot of people. Not on your books, not on your device. Other questions? A lot of people are awake at 3. People wake up at 3 and go, I must be the only person awake at 3. And it's like, well, you're not. It's like there are many people wake up at 3. There's a little 1 second, I guess, between the cycles of sleep that we go through during the night. And so some people, when they hit that, they just wake up more than others. So just tell yourself you're okay and that you'll cycle through this.
When I'm going to the restroom, I try to like keep my eyes closed, like sleepwalk.
No blaring lights.
Yeah.
Smart. Good idea.
I have a question. There's the 90-minute, is that right? Like our cycle, the REM, is it true that we go through a 90-minute cycle and it's ideal to complete the 90 minutes? So should we be trying to sleep in 90-minute, increments? Don't get up at 8 hours, get up at
Oh, I
9?
see.
Is that?
So we have these cycles and we go through them like between, say, 4 and 7 times a night where we go through those. And I think the cycles change across time, like how deeply we go through them. 90 minutes, I think you could do that. I think it's a little tricky probably because it's not exact, but it is an interesting way to think about it. So we have lighter sleep, we have deep sleep where the body's repairing itself, the brain is washing itself, all that activity that we didn't know about before, muscles are healing, the toxins from the brain. That's where neurodegenerative diseases are from, the accumulation of toxins, proteins that clump in the brain. So if we don't sleep at night, then we're more likely to get neurodegenerative diseases like dementia, Parkinson's. And so we want to have that deep sleep. The deep sleep is for the body, and then the REM sleep is for the mind. So that's, we're kind of playing out things, we're dreaming, our eyes are flickering, we're busy when we're sleeping. So having deep sleep and REM sleep is important.
I think it's so interesting in our culture today. There's so much emphasis on food and diet affecting how you feel. And really, I mean, the other half of it is this. It's not just what you eat, there's so much emphasis on eat this, eat that, and I think, this is really a big part of why people don't feel well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they say there are 3 primary components. There's sleep, nutrition, and exercise. And exercise, I could just talk forever about that because exercise really has to do with how deeply you sleep and the food choices. And if you don't sleep well, then your nutrition is affected. Yeah. It's like I can have, say I was cooking and I had chocolate chips in the freezer for cooking. I never think about these weeks go on. I'm really tired and I'm just like, chocolate chips. It's like, it comes to the front of my mind. And then pretty soon I'm eating them by the handfuls. So it's all so connected. And then chocolate chips, chocolate, sugar, you'll be awake and it all fits together. You're right, very important.
That's my middle name.
Chocolate chip.
Chocolate chips. Ask my wife. They're not good to eat at night.
Oh, no. So if you would like, I have like a little card on my program. Yeah. I think that most people can't talk with me about sleep. They have one idea of what works, or they know they have it, but then they forget. So it's kind of like a delusional system. So I've started talking about, how's your productivity? How are your relationships? More of a peak performance, because some people can relate to the fact that they can't sleep. I don't know that everybody can do that. They may know, and then they don't know. It's like a portal that disappears and there's not a trace of it. So it's been very interesting to work on. Any other questions, though? Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you,
for
Diane.
listening.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us online. Enjoy your Sunday. Those of us in person here, please join us in the community room for kinship as you're able.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is really good. I really
Oh.
loved the